Michael is the Senior Director of Platforms for DroneUp. Mike is a retired U.S. Air Force pilot with over 21 years of active service. After retiring from the Air Force, Mike worked at Frost & Sullivan as a senior industry analyst for aerospace defense and security. Mike's main areas of research and analysis were the global unmanned systems and training and simulation markets. Please join me in welcoming Michael Blaze to the stage.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, okay, awesome. All right, let's get this loaded up here. I'm going to start with a short video. Is the sound on for the video? I'm giving away all my... Let's see. Oh, I found it. There we go.
What if there's a more efficient way? From point A to point B. This package from you, delivered more quickly to your customers. Your people that used to work up here now inspect safely from down here. We are DroneUp, expert flight services that make drones good for businesses like yours. Serving real customers at scale. Your business is yours, so we tailor to you. We understand your priorities. We scale for you. And we build with you, making the complex simple and helping you grow. The path forward is up.
All right, that says kind of an overview better than I can, so I thought I'd start with that video and follow up with a picture. First of all, thanks for having me. Thanks for everybody for coming. Does anybody know what that is? What kind of drone that is? It's a 1, it's not even a 2, it's an Inspire 1. So this is our first delivery drone 2 years ago. That's an Inspire 1 with a rope attached to a reusable grocery bag. Really high tech, right? I kind of want to start with the picture because pictures are worth 1,000 words, although with inflation, I think that one's maybe worth 800 words. How it all started. I'm going to go through and talk to you about how DroneUp started, where we're at now, and where we're going. And where we're going is really where I want to get into the meat because this is where the PX4 community can help us. So our CEO, basically, you can see how we started very, very humbly. He was just going to have fun flying drones. But his background and the people he worked with, their background was in software. And so his idea was, I'm going to have fun flying drones, but then some things came up where they had opportunities to actually use drones to help with natural disasters. And they're like, wait a minute, we can take the software that we have developed, integrate drones into that, and provide solutions. And also along with that realization, they figured out that there was a lot of drone operators, people providing services that could do a lot of jobs, but the people who wanted those jobs weren't able to connect with those drone operators. So our CEO and some folks that he recruited put this software together to basically marry up the drone operators with the drone requests, the services requests, and built a large pilot network. So that's how we started. Now we have over 22,000 drone pilots in our network where if someone needs like a drone inspection or some kind of drone service, they can go to DroneUp and we'll get them the pilot to do it. And it's all basically 1099, a lot of contract services. So that's how it started out. It was basically a contract drone services provider, how it's going. So now we've kind of transitioned to a larger business model, or And then you see here, we are not focused on delivery. A lot of folks know us about our deal with Walmart and developing their drone ecosystem, which I'll get to in a minute. But our focus isn't that. Our focus is being able to deliver drone technology and innovate and inspire with that drone technology, delivery just being a portion of that. Here's some more milestones. I'm going to put this up here just to show that that same picture that you saw earlier was only 2 years ago. So we've come a long way in those 2 years from an Inspire with a rope and a bag to what we're using today now, which is actually provided by Bobby Watts, who you saw in the previous presentation. And this, if you all did not see the press release from Walmart, our responsibility by the end of this year is to provide them with 34 hubs that we can operate drones out of for delivery services. And this is just an overview of where those hubs are going to be. There's already 2 existing in Arkansas and operational, with a 3rd one should be done, I think, by the end of this month. And then throughout the rest of the year, I think we have to open 2 hubs per week to meet this requirement. And we've already begun vetting sites for 2023. And we aren't sure exactly how many sites we're going to open yet. That's up to Walmart, but we know it's going to be significantly more than this year. And just to kind of highlight too, we're not just a drone delivery company. We provide a lot of services, and that's our pedigree. That's what we started out doing. So we are going to continue providing services as well as building the drone delivery ecosystem for Walmart. How we move forward. So we think there are basically 4 key pieces to drone delivery. You have the drone, you have the hub, you have the software that runs it all, and you have distribution. So I'm going to kind of go through each one of those and explain how we're progressing. Right now, we're using Bobby Watts's V2 version, or 2nd version, we call it, because it's basically adapted to us. But he has a Prism drone that he's built that was basically made for heavy lift, carrying cameras. We've worked with him to adapt that to be a sort of a drone delivery specific platform. And this is the first iteration. We can only deliver out to one mile or just beyond that because of beyond visual line of sight rules. We can only operate VLOS in Part 1 of Senate. But we are preparing for the regulations to change, and we're hoping they're going to be stepwise, where they allow us to, with certain parameters of our drones, go to 3 to 5 miles and then beyond 5 miles. My job really as the Senior Director of Platforms is to figure out what drone that is in that TBD, and then also what the drone is of the future past that. So basically next gen and then 3rd gen, because it's going to have to support us being able to deliver to a further distance. We are actually pretty close on the middle, but we're not 100%, so I couldn't put it in there yet. So talked about the drone. This is the hub. The hub is where basically everything operates out of, and the idea is to have a hub at every Walmart store. And maybe not every Walmart store, because some of them are close together. Maybe overkill to have a hub at every one. But this is the idea. Also, the idea is to have it portable. So Walmart has the infrastructure to support this drone delivery ecosystem, which many of our competitors don't have. Actually, none of our competitors have. The other thing that we get out of this hub is we don't have to just put delivery drones in, and I'll get more into that when we discuss what we need from the community. But bottom line is we can operate drones out of the hub that aren't focused on delivery in order to do services, especially once beyond visual line of sight rules are in place. And we can use those revenues from those services to offset the delivery costs. Again, something that our competitors don't have. Many of them are specifically focused on delivery. This is what we see the ecosystem looking like. So you have the between 4,000 and 5,000 Walmart stores. Again, all of them probably won't have a drone hub, but from Walmart, we will be able to deliver from those hubs out to residential customers. Also, the little restaurants there, because if there's a restaurant on site with Walmart, we can deliver food as well. The other part of that is our services portion. So on the left side, you see cell towers, construction, first response, wind turbines, inspecting all those or providing services to all those. We can still do that out of the hub, and we still plan on doing it out of the hub. So this is really the meat and potatoes of why I'm here. I'm not a coder. I'm a pilot by trade, so I like pictures. I like let people like you, smart people, do the things that really matter, like developing the code that we need. But what I do know is our requirements. So I kind of wanted to go through step by step and let you all, as the PX4 community, understand what we need from the smart coders out there. First of all, scalability. Again, we talked about 4,000 Walmart stores plus having 10 to 20 drones per site. That's 80,000 plus drones right there. So we need Autopilot and source code to support that. That enables that scalability. We also have to be flexible. I kind of told you how we have the delivery drone portion to worry about. We also have all the other drones. So we need support for not just VTOL type drones, but also multi-rotors and maybe even fixed wing. We don't know yet. We want to have that capability to be drone agnostic, because the software that we're building for this operation is going to focus on that drone, being able to be drone agnostic, because we don't want to paint ourselves into a corner and have to have keep a drone forever that can only do a certain thing. We want to be able to roll with any kind of technological changes that make it more cost efficient for us to operate in the future. And security, I like Brian's brief earlier. What part of it was focused on security. We really need to have the ability to secure our drones. Right now, it's not that big of a deal, but when you have tens of thousands of drones in the sky, if someone's able to get into that code, for instance, if I have Autopilot and I can detect that someone's trying to hack into that drone, because it's basically just a flying computer, I would like that Autopilot to understand it and just freeze and not do anything else. Because if somebody can get into that drone and start flying it where they want to, that can cause a lot of problems. And the last thing we want to happen is some sort of air, accident caused by a drone, because at that point, the FAA will shut down everything with regards to drones flying in the sky. And last, and I think this is probably most important, again, me not being a coder, this comes from my lead drone integrator. He said, look, when you're talking to the community, please tell them we would really help us if we have source code changes or updates. We really would like quicker and more robust testing of that source code, the foundational source code, because if it's not there, then we have to do it ourselves. And the whole idea behind us using an open source code is so we don't have to have 100 software engineers on our staff to do this for us. And I think that's really, I wanted to go through this quick because I think we were behind, but if I have time for questions, Ramon, do I have time for questions? If so, I'll take them. If not, I can stick around.
Anyone in the audience have any questions?
We got two. You guys your hands first. Yes, go ahead. I can hear you. I can repeat the question.
Just so the virtual audience can also hear you.
So at the moment, are you foreseeing being able to deliver during bad weather? Because if these sites are active, I assume this is going to be only certain days, okay, we can fly or not.
Yeah, it's a good question. Did you guys hear the question about flying in bad weather? So right now, we're still restricted by Part 107, obviously. And so we can't fly at night. So we are still restricted by weather. Our goal is to have drones which are IP65, 67 that can fly in rain and snow. But there are going to be parameters where we can't fly. But we also have the part of our responsibility is to make sure that we fly as much as possible. We want to have a highly we want to have a high utilization rate of our drones. So in the future, we hope to have micro weather stations on the hubs as well as the delivery locations. That way we have a better weather picture than just a regional forecast. And if we get that weather real time, we can do a couple things. One is we can reroute around the weather if we need to. The other thing is we can just delay, and when the person orders, say, look, there's a storm over your delivery site right now. We can deliver it in 20 or 30 minutes. That's down the line, but we already understand that we need to make those technological plans and have that in our capabilities in order to maximize our efficiency and maximize the opportunity to send stuff to the customers. I think I had saw your hand first. Just let me know when I have to stop, Ramon.
Yep.
Right back.
We got time for one more.
Okay.
So 4,000 stores and 10 drones per store, that's 40,000 drones. That's the same order of magnitude as there's commercial airplanes out there right now. So I would assume accidents will happen.
Yeah, so the point is the question is kind of like operating at scale. How are we expecting accidents, and how are we going to mitigate against that? So there's several things that we're going to be looking at. They're not in place yet. We think there's going to be a requirement. Well, there is going to be a requirement for detect and avoid. So now all our drones will be able to communicate with each other. So we have a unmanned traffic management system called the AirMap that we acquired. And the reason we acquired that is because we want to be able to see the air picture, and all the information from our drones can come back in there and feed it out to the drones we're flying, so they all know where they're at and they can deconflict. The idea is anything else with an ADS-B transponder will also go into that, so we'll see that as well. Detect and avoid should protect us if we do it right and against any non-cooperative aircraft. So your point, I'm sure there will be accidents, but we need those things in place to mitigate that, or else the FAA is not going to allow us to do it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, since
you will probably have to expect that it will happen. How do you think that will sort of the public opinion or the regulatory opinion will see that?
Well, I think it depends on what it is. If we have two drones run into each other and they have a safety system that lowers them to the ground, whether it's powered by the say there's a motor out because it hit and the other motors can emergency land the aircraft, or it has parachutes. As long as that happens safely, there's probably not going to be any ramifications that we have to make a report and say, go back and look, is there anything else we can do to make it safer? If there's something larger than that, then we're going to have to deal with it then. But obviously the hope is that we plan well enough ahead of time to seriously mitigate that potential.
All right. Okay, 1 second.
One more question. I just wanted to know what your timeline is. You've got the drone, the hub to hub first, and then the hub to maybe a personal business or residence. How are you timeline? What are you looking at?
So the question is, what's our timeline for delivery? So,
They heard me.
okay. No, that's okay. So, right, we're actually delivering to residences now. And so it's not a matter of the timeline of when we're going to deliver to residences. It's the timeline is when are we going to deliver further out because the regulations allow us to. So we're sort of at the mercy of the FAA right now. But the industry is really working together towards figuring out how we can make the drones safe enough and fly enough hours on these drones to show the FAA that we can fly safely even when a pilot's not looking at them. So the timeline that you're asking for is, the answer to it is we sort of don't know. We just know that it's going to be a piece, we think it's going to be piecemeal where they're going to let us fly. They're say, you need these requirements for a drone in order to fly beyond visual line of sight for this distance. And so now you can do that. Then later on, there's going to be, okay, you need these requirements on the drone to fly this distance. And then eventually there's just going to be a rule that says as long as you meet all these requirements, you can fly beyond visual line of sight anywhere. So that basically the regulations are going to make our timeline happen.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Mike, I have one question for the virtual audience, and
Okay.
the question is it possible to fly a drone in a city with open source firmware like BX4? Are there any more certifications that you need for the firmware?
So like I said, I'm not a code expert. We actually, the version 2 drone that we have is using PX4 and it's actually using Alterian Skynote. So that's all integrated together. We are going to be flying that for deliveries. So it's not technically urban right now, but it is, it's residential. So the answer is we're flying that under those capabilities with using PX4 code as it is. To make deliveries. Now, we actually haven't had to make a delivery with that drone yet, but the plan is in the next few weeks, as we get more of these drones on, we're actually going to start putting them into the new hubs that get launched. And as far as I know, there's no restrictions on that flying with that kind of open source code because we're already doing it. Hopefully that's the answer to the question.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much.